your name and your date of birth.
Archie Leonard Reed, June the 26th, 1937.
Where were you born?
About 3 miles south of here, just a mile west of Clyde, Arkansas.
And this interview is part of the Cane Hill Oral History Project, and we're going to reuse this interview for his historical education purposes. Is that okay with you?
That's fine with me.
Thank you. Who are your parents?
Archie Benton Reed and Esther Lou Collins.
And what about, how many siblings did you have?
I had 2 son and daughter, and 2 sisters and 2 brothers.
Okay. Tell me about your parents.
Well, my dad was a farmer most of his life, and he done a lot of apple peddling and hauling wheat. And he's just more or less a farmer of all trades.
What are your earliest memories of Cane Hill?
I went to school in the 1st grade here.
What was it like going to school in Cane Hill? Tell me about some of your...
Well, my first year I went to school in the lunchroom, which was across the road from the Cane Hill College on the north side. And they called it the lunchroom, and there was 3 grades in it. And Miss Irwin's one that taught it.
Wanda Irwin?
No, Wanda's mother. James Irwin's mother.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't Wanda, it was James Irwin's mother.
What was it like going to school there?
Oh, it was a lot of fun. James Irwin was in the Army. He was in the Second World War, and she was worrying about him. So when we'd have recess, we'd go out and go to catching crawdads. Recess over, we didn't quit. We just kept catching crawdads.
You go down here to the creek?
No, there was a little branch there right down in front, and we'd go down and catch crawdads.
Tell me about some of your classmates and friends at the Cane Hill School.
Well, my sister Bonnie was in 2 grades ahead of me. And I had another sister a year older than that who was a grade ahead of her. And my brother was in behind me. And then my little brother, he was on back behind that. And John Remington, he went to school up there. He died here just the last couple of weeks. And Roxy McCracken, she was a same class as I was. She died here back a year ago. And Joy Stickler is the only one left that was in my class.
Have you always lived at the same place you're living now?
No, I went to Federal for 35 years. I lived up there.
Tell me about where all you have lived. Maybe that's.
Well, I lived at Archie Reed Place till I was about 19. I moved to south part of Federal. I don't remember the name of the little street. Lived there for 2 years. Then I moved to Johnson. Lived there for 16 years. Then I moved back down here to Orville and Margaret Lofton farm. I bought it, and I've been living there ever since.
What year was that?
About 80. About 80.
80?
Yeah.
So you grew up here and then moved
Yeah,
back.
then I moved back.
What do you remember about the Cane Hill community, going as far back as you can remember about Cane Hill?
Well, I remember Shaker Yates' store here. We'd come down and buy a pencil, a penny pencil we could buy, or we could buy a 2-cent pencil. That was the number 2 pencil, but we'd buy that penny pencil. When I was 1st and 2nd grade, that is what we could afford.
A penny pencil, huh?
A penny pencil.
What else did you do when you came to the store?
And we'd buy candy if we had the money, ice cream, and just look around.
Was it only to trade, or were there other things you would come here for?
No, we just running around, something to do.
That were visiting?
Yeah.
What did young kids do in Cane Hill in the old days?
Most of the time we wrestled and run races and played ball. We done lots of wrestling back in them days.
Wrestling, huh?
Yep.
Oh, again, back in the old days at Cane Hill, when do you remember they first brought the electric service into Cane Hill?
They started in '39, and they come to parts of Cane Hill I ain't gonna sure say on Cane Hill, but it should have been about 39 because that's when REA started. So they would have been here about 39.
What about the roads to Cane Hill? Do you know when those were paved?
Well, I knew when the one in front of my house was. It was in 57.
57.
Where I live now, it was done in 57. I bought a 57 Plymouth the year it was done.
And so you live about a mile west of the wheel, is that right?
About a mile and a half.
Okay. So when you're real near Cane Hill.
Yeah.
What about the road from Cane Hill up to 62? Do you?
Well, I didn't really remember on it. I thought it was 57, but some of them said 51.
Okay, so a few years sooner.
Yeah.
Do you remember? Tell me about what you remember about the water fountain in the middle of the road. Do you?
I can just barely remember it. It disappeared when they put the road through, and then it turned up at Cane Hill College later on. But I don't know where it went there for a while.
Well, what was different from the time of your earliest memories of when you went to school here, say, until you moved back later in the 80s?
Well, it went down. The school closed, and pretty well everything closed down. Shaker store closed. Spectre Gates had a store in Clyde. They was brothers. One of them had a store in Clyde and one in Cane Hill. And I went to Clyde store mostly, but when I was going to school, I'd come down to Shaker store.
In those days, did you travel a lot to Lincoln or Stillwell or Fayetteville or Fort Smith, other towns?
Very little. Once in a while, we'd go to Prairie Grove or Lincoln, and Dad had 5 kids, and a bunch of us would be riding in the back. And
in the back of the truck?
Back of the truck. That's where we rode.
Was that common in those days?
That was common. That was just an everyday occurrence. There was usually one seated truck, and everybody had to have a truck, and the kids all had to ride in the back.
Tell me about your family at home when you were a young kid. What was family life like for you guys?
Well, in the summertime, we helped bale hay, helped haul hay. I helped haul hay loose for a year or two. We'd put stacking on a wagon, and I was one of doing the stacking onto the wagon.
With a pitchfork?
With a pitchfork. We'd haul it in. We had a fork in the barn. We'd pick it up and take it into the barn.
That was a lot of work.
That was a lot of work. We'd load up the wagon just heavy as we'd get, and that was about 15 bales.
You said earlier your family farmed. What other business? Was there any other business you did, or was it all farming?
No, it was mostly all farming. Back before Dad's time, they had apples. They had 90 acres of apples on that farm. But my grandpa went to Colorado and proved up on a claim, and he leased the farm out to a feller. When he come back, there wasn't no apples left. He'd cut them all down.
He'd cut them down?
He'd cut them all down.
How come?
He didn't want them. He was going to farm. So he cut all the apple trees down.
Oh, what did your dad think about that?
They had a hard time getting back in. It took them 6 months to get him out.
Oh, to get the guy who leased
to get him out of there, yeah.
What about your house when you moved here in the 80s? Have you farmed the whole time too?
Yes, I have. I've had cattle the whole time. I had chickens for about 8 years, and then I went back to strictly cattle.
What would y'all do on a Sunday?
We'd usually walk to church
where
Sunday morning at Clyde, and then we'd walk back home. Dad was usually always gone. He was either peddling or working or doing something, and so we'd walk to church. And just
he had the car or the truck.
Yeah, he'd have the truck. Mom didn't drive. He had the one vehicle, and he was always gone.
When did you learn how to drive?
I was about 14, 15. I was driving a truck before I got a license.
Sure, I bet. Do you remember, I may have already asked you this, do you remember anything about the mill?
Not a whole lot. It was already gone. It was tore down before I can remember.
Do you remember your dad or anyone else talking about going down there?
Well, Dad, he always talked about it. I had an uncle that had a sawmill down there. When they had that steam engine there, he sawed lumber down there.
When you were a kid growing up here, I'd asked you this earlier, but what all did y'all do for fun? Not at school, but like on weekends or at home. What did you do for fun?
Well, we played horseshoes and run around, and we milked cows. We milked cows every morning and night, year round.
Not a whole lot of time left for fun.
There wasn't a great lot of time left for fun.
What did the adults do when you were a kid? What did they do for entertainment or for?
They didn't have much entertainment. They mostly just stayed there at home and visited neighbors. They had neighbors come in. When I was pretty young, Dad got a television. He had neighbors come in every night. They had one family that stayed there till 2 o'clock in the morning when the television signed off. And that's when they left. They'd come every Saturday night.
It's fun. What about cards or dances and stuff like that?
We never did go to them much. They had them here at Cane Hill, but we never did go.
You didn't go. Tell me about some of your neighbors and friends in this area that you've got to know over the years.
Well, I run around with Billy Joe Grant. He lived up on Tarry Mountain, and he was in the same class I was. Last I heard, he was in Dallas, Texas, and I hadn't heard any more. And John Remington, he's a pretty good friend. We run around some. And I run around with a boy by the name of Jimmy Spinks quite a bit. We'd ride horses when we got a chance. And
what can you tell me about the work that's going on now with the college and the restoration?
Well, it looked mighty good to me. It looked like they're fixing things up just about like it was 100 years ago.
Well, let's back up. I know once the community decided to take over the management or the restoration of the upkeep of the old school building there, you were involved in helping the festival, I think, tell me about your role with the festival and the fundraising for all those years.
Well, I've been the one that made the sorghum for the last 20-something years.
Have you ever missed a year?
Nope. One year I was just pretty near to missed. I had a tick fever, and they said I didn't do much.
But every year you've helped with that? Now,
I've been there every year.
Most years, didn't you grow it on your property?
I did for a long time, but now we're growing in Cane Hill, there on the college grounds.
To demonstrate what it looks like?
Just mostly demonstration now.
So you've been real active. Tell about the history of how the historic Cane Hill ended up coming in and...
Well, we were working trying to get the windows fixed. We were trying to come up with enough money to fix the windows of the college building. And we'd figured out we had one of them sent off getting it worked on, and he was going to charge us a fee for doing it and then fix the rest of the windows. And a boy come and said, how would you like for us to take over and do all this? I was on the school board at the time, or the board of the little building, and we was all kind of in agreement for them. Yes, they'd come fix them windows, and then they come back and said they were going to fix the building completely. And so most of us were still for it, but they had one lady, she got to where she didn't really like it, but she kind of backed down on it, and it went ahead and went on through, and they've been working on it ever since.
Would you have ever thought that it would have turned out as well as it has when they...
I didn't think it would ever do that. I didn't see how they could ever fix it the way they have. I didn't think there was any way it could be fixed this good.
So you've been real pleased with that?
Yes, I have.
What would you like to see done with the college and the campus?
Well, just finish it up and then kind of take care of it. I'm getting too old. I'm going to be 79 here in just a few days. So it's not going to amount much to me anymore.
Tell me about, what else do you think about Cane Hill that I haven't thought to ask?
Well, they had good water here for a long time, and the state kind of condemned it, and they had to put in city water. But that old college water up there by the college there, the spring, it was mighty good water for a long time, and it sure tasted good.
Is that why the people originally settled here?
Yeah, I'm sure it was. Why? It was because of the spring in the college. But back then, they got around springs and where they could get water. We had several springs. They had one in Clyde, and I've got one on my place. My brother's got one on his place, around behind the bluff. And then you go on to the other side of the road, and there's not any water. And a lot of them, they'd have to haul water. So they like to be around the springs.
What do you like the most about Cane Hill?
Well, just because it's a authentic old home place. Really, my home place though was Clyde. That was my actual farm or town. But we used to come to school, we come to Cane Hill.
Which is just south of here,
Yeah,
right?
just south of here. Dad bought me some shoes at Clyde one time. They was button-up shoes. They lasted 3 days. They busted all to pieces. They was rotten.
What are some of the funniest stories you can remember from about Cane Hill area, Clyde, Mara, anywhere, just this general area?
Well,
Older stories maybe.
well, I can't think of any offhand, but there's lots of them around. Let's see it. The last graduating class was in '49 of Cane Hill College, their school. That was one of the things. And I left in '53, I guess it was. I left the 7th grade, so that'd been 51 or 2.
Where'd you go?
I went to Lincoln to school.
Because of the consolidation?
Because of the consolidation.
Now, how old were you when you moved away?
I was 19. But I drove a truck from the time I was 15 until I was 18. Then I worked at the cannon factory for a year. I run a capper. And then I drove a truck for Ernest Ball, which he owned this cannon factory. And I'd go haul tomatoes when we needed them hauled. And then if I wasn't doing that, I'd run the capper. Made a whole 75 cents an hour.
What year was that in?
It was either 55 or 56. And I can't really tell you for sure which one.
When you moved closer to the big cities, why did you move? Was it for work?
Well, I had to for work. When I started working at the light company, well, that was one of the requirements. We had to be living close. We worked. Yeah, we was on call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
So you had to be close enough.
Had to be close enough to go to work.
So when you retired, did you move back? Or
I moved back before I retired. I moved back 12 years before I retired. Really.
They changed the rules then? Were you?
They kind of changed the rules.
Loosened them a little?
Yeah, they loosened them a little. And, I was given permission to move, and then later on they got to kind of question it. I wasn't sure whether I was going to keep working, but I did. But I'd already bought the farm and I was moving. So I went ahead and moved, and they went ahead and let me work.
Any regrets for coming back?
No, I come back, I enjoyed it.
What about the people in the area?
Well, I was always just one of them, and everybody was neighbors. In Fayetteville, I didn't hardly know my next door neighbor. I knew one or two, and that was about it. Down here, I knew everybody around. About everybody in Cane Hill and Clyde and Morrow, just about all around.